Nicknamed La Superba, or the Proud One, the city boasts a glorious past as a port which ruled sea trade in the Mediterranean. With rich architecture reflecting its merchant history, it's also the hometown of basil pesto, focaccia bread, and retail therapy lies in every direction.
Shopping is very unique and diverse right here in Genoa. From the gems you find in really narrow alleyways to big name fashion brands in what almost looks like a golden fashion highway. There's something for everyone.
Milan lies just north of here, so the boutiques are right on trend. Many of these line the Carucci, a maze of narrow streets throughout the old city. It's a chance to shop the latest in style, from buildings dating back to the 12th century. At the heart of the Italian Riviera, this is a crossroads for those traveling the Med, and 7 million seafaring visitors pass through each year.
So this is where it started for Genoa, this port right here.
Yeah, this is where it began and where still goes on, we can say, for this town that still has the largest port in the Mediterranean Sea. So from here, from the middle of the port, we can see the modern part of this old economy. We have all the ferries that still daily go to the island, Sardinia, Corsica, Sicily. We have the container hubs, and we have some of the most and largest luxury yachts. So still the economy of this town is based on the sea and the importance of this port.
Exploring the town on foot is a good way to digest a lunch of pesto pasta, which many visitors want to try before their cruise ships move on. The old port was built on trading herbs and spices like basil, which originates in India. And the story of this city's most famous son is closely tied to trade.
What a lot of people don't know is that Genoa is the birthplace of the iconic Christopher Columbus.
And you're standing nearby the house where he spent his childhood. We are near the city center, and this is where his trip started. Actually, Christopher Columbus was born, we could say, during a big economical crisis due to the expansion of the Ottoman Empire that stopped the roads to go to east and provide all the goods that the Genoese were exporting them. So it was necessary for him and for the whole town to find a new way to go toward east.
And behind you, of course, is the old city gate. Tell us a little bit about the architecture.
This gate, that used to be the main gate of the town, is known as Porta Soprana. And at the appearance, it may look Gothic, but its style, it's the mixture between the local Romanesque style and some influences that the Genoese got from the other side of the Mediterranean Sea, and so the Middle East. So it's something to admire, dating back to 1155, and part of a huge wall that was named the Barbarossa Walls. Barbarossa was the name of a German emperor that wanted to subdue Genoa, and this was the way the Genoese found to defend themselves.
Not every period structure is an ancient fortification or museum. People live in these vibrantly painted buildings and have done so since the collapse of the Roman Empire.
We are in the Middle Ages city center of the town of Genoa, and those are the typical feature of the houses. Standing here since 1,000 years, more or less, they had been built one room over the other. People had to take advantage of the narrow spaces we had here, and so this is still the same nowadays. There's not so much room where to put elevators, so I have to confess to you that in most cases people still climbs up to the 7th floor, but sometimes when you get up there, it's like being in heaven, you know. You can't imagine or guess what's on top of those roofs.
A morning hunk of focaccia bread with some of the local biancetta wine is a favorite and refreshing Genovese snack before heading out to see more of the sights. Like the Cattedrale di San Lorenzo, bombed in World War II, but which thankfully survived. Genoa has left an impression on many artists and thinkers. The composer Verdi wrote work inspired by its history. Author of The Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald, also wrote about it, and the psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud lived here.
We've stepped into a very elaborate part of Genoa.
The whole road has been built to satisfy the needs of the nobles in Genoa to have more elegant residences, as to be in touch with their friends that were monarchs all over Europe. And so this area has been completely renewed at that time in a competition between the best nobles in Genoa. Not all of them could keep a property throughout the century, but still there are some of the buildings in this area, like the one we are close by, they are property of the family that lives inside, and they are the descendants of the nobles that built it centuries ago.
Looking at how different the buildings are in design, I can understand how each architect just wanted to show off.
Each architect was trying actually to find something different from all the others. That's why if you look generally at all the decoration of those palaces, you may find some of them painted with an optic effect that we define trompe-l'œil. That's the French word that means a trick for the eye. And they can simulate stones or statues, or you may find real statues and stuccos coming out from the walls.
Whichever period these buildings were built in, from the 12th century or the Renaissance, there are so many locals living in and around them that history feels alive here.
This hanging garden makes quite a statement in this courtyard.
Yeah, this beautiful decoration that we can see at the end of the backyard of the garden in this mansion had to be created to hide the fact that the building had to be stuck on a hill. So in this case, the architect invented something great, a fountain that was decorated with stalactites and stalagmites coming from the grottos in the island of Sardinia. So they cured it in every detail just to make forget being stuck on a hill.
Ayanda was going to spend all afternoon enjoying recipes rich with chestnuts from the surrounding mountains, as many pesto dishes as she could. Local anchovies they call bread of the sea, and a host of Genovese seafood.
So Ayanda, you can leave Genoa without tasting the most typical local foods. So we have in this area quite a lot of different kinds of vegetable pies, like those ones made with onions, either zucchini. This one is big green with a special kind of typical local cheese that we name prescinsea. Then a very other local food is the so-called focaccia al formaggio. This was invented in a town not far away from here, Recco. And it's, well, it just came out from the oven, so that's something that you have to taste. You will see it's delicious.
Well, Natasha, thank you so much for a beautiful day. And as you say in Genoa, salute. Salute.
Our presenter took her time sampling everything. After pranzo, as they call lunch, the Genovese love nothing more than a passeggiata, an easy walk along the promenade or through the 1,000-year-old streets of a city where the past and present are hard to tell apart.